Tonight on Joy News Prime, National Vice Chairman of the NDC, Alhaji Sinari, accused of distributing weapons to cause chaos during the December 7 elections, and he may still face charges in spite of police dropping charges against him today.
The charges that were brought to court were not well founded, and so I'm sure the prosecution saw that there were some gaps in the charges, and that's why they reduced.
Also tonight, MP for Fomna kicked out by the NPP following his decision to run independent, insists he is a member of the party and on the majority side of the House.
They are saying they have dismissed me, but I am telling you I'm winning for the party. You see, you people, you media men, I've had a lot of discussion about this particular issue. Please, let me have a bit of my peace.
We have details. Residents of Kufuor number 1 and 2 and surrounding communities in the Katamansu municipality count their losses after floods destroyed their homes.
He's the one who carried all the children to this story building. If not because of this story building yesterday, like we will lose our things and we will lose our children.
And coming up in business,
former Finance Minister Seth Terkper says Ghana is facing financial distress as a result of government excessive borrowing. We have details coming up.
The country is facing austerity, a very deep austerity. And the good thing about this is that unlike 2009, when single spine, virtually was not quantified, was virtually hidden.
And on the campaign trail, the battle is here in the national capital, Accra, as the flag bearer of the opposition NDC, John Dramani Mahama, and President Kufuor are jostling for votes in the Greater Accra region.
Obviously 315 new secondary school from scratch. And then the Minister of Education, say they never made any such promise.
My name is Ernest Mina, and Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our studios here at Kukumlemle in Accra on your digital TV, because we are free to air. We're also on DSTV, channel 421 and GoTV 144. This is your home of independent, fearless, credible and impactful journalism. Stay tuned for details. Hello again, thank you very much for joining us. Now in our first story, the Conference of Heads of Assisted Senior High Schools is demanding a review of the free senior high school policy, especially the policy on the PTAs in schools after 3 years of the existence of this program. Now, according to Charles, the policy that was put in place 3 years ago has led to the collapse of PTAs in schools across the country, accounting for many abandoned projects at various levels, as well as support for the schools. Now, speaking at the 5th Annual Conference of Charles at Wesley Girls in Cape Coast, President of the Association, Yakub Abubakar, urged the GES and other stakeholders to consider a reversal of the policy to ensure effective implementation and positive outcomes. Richard Kojinyako sat through the conference and has more in the following report.
The Conference of Heads of Assisted Senior High Schools have been deliberating on the role of stakeholders in ensuring quality education in Ghana in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic. President of the conference, Yakub Abubakar, poured out the frustrations of the schools as a result of the policy on PTAs. He says Charles is demanding a review of the policy that was put in place at the inception of the free senior high school policy to enable the free senior high school policy realize its full potentials.
Our observation over the period is that PTA activities are gradually dying in our schools. Hitherto, the PTA were playing very significant roles in our schools. We therefore call upon the Ghana Education Service Management and other stakeholders to relook at the current policy on PTAs in our schools. Nana Chairman, if a policy is in place and for the past 3 years it is not working, then it needs to be relooked at. projects at various levels. PTAs in the past used to cushion schools when there were delays in release of funds to schools. This made school running effective. At present, even though there are delays in the release of funds, schools do not have the leverage like PTA to assist them, and so making the effective administration of schools problematic. After 3 years of the implementation of the free senior high school, Charles is calling for a review of the policy so that the challenging areas could be addressed.
Mr. Yakubu Abubakar says even though the buffer stock that was put in place has ensured that the mandate given to it to supply food across the country was carried out, there are many complaints from the schools regarding quality and quantity of the food.
The buffer stock should be seen to be operating as a buffer stock and not middlemen who quickly react to changes in market prices by either varying their supplies and sometimes not supplying at all. A typical example currently is the case of the granules and mackerel. And let's add millet. Nana Chama, we are all proud to patronize the made in Ghana rice. But the challenge is how well it is prepared or treated. Experience has shown that the treatment of the rice is not the best, and that should be looked at.
Charles also berated the delays in the development of the new code of conduct for schools. They say the schools are struggling in ensuring discipline.
Charles is aware that the Ghana Education Service is in the process of developing a new code of conduct for our schools. We wish to state that this process has kept too long, making the management of our schools more challenging, given the modern current laws on child rights, etc. We call on the Ghana Education Service to, as a matter of urgency, come out with the current code of conduct to facilitate our work as heads of schools.
The conference also called for a review of the portion of the feeding grant given to schools. They say the 30% given to schools for perishables is not enough, suggesting a minimum of 40%. Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources, who read the president's speech, indicated government was not oblivious to the challenges associated with the implementation of the free senior high school and would work to address the 13 challenges. The Conference of Heads of Assisted Senior High Schools also called for an amendment on the usage of mobile phones in schools. They want an introduction of customized mobile phones to satisfy school needs specific. Richard Kwejonya, Joy News, Cape Coast.
And we are fortunate to have in the studio the Deputy Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Seiduchum, to respond to some of the concerns raised by Charles there. Thank you very much for your time here, Doc. Now, let's start with the issue of the PTAs. Essentially, the schools are not allowed to levy the students anymore or their parents anymore in order to contribute to development in the schools. And they have a lot of their projects which they started before free SHS hanging.
Let me thank you for the opportunity to be here in this. To say a very good evening to your viewing audience. In education, there's something that is called a structured democratic voice. If you want to look at how schools perform and get quality outcomes, we want participation by parents, by civic society. Such participation may be called tangential or infused. Tangential is where parents had the opportunity to speak to education policy and to tell policymakers that this is how we want your schools to, our schools to run. And when it's infused, it's where parents participate in decision making at the various schools and contribute so that there will be improved outcomes. So I agree with Charles when they talk about parent participation. But in this country for too long, parent participation has been equated with parent levy. Parent participation goes beyond financial contribution.
Yes, and that is true.
It's when you give them a voice in the school, and there's a back-to-school night, parent conferences, headmaster accounting to the parents of the school, saying this is how your students are doing. Parent participation is shown in education research as, beyond quality teachers, one of the most critical indicators that leads to transformation of schools, and we need to do a better job at that.
I think the most important part of this is the financial aspect.
No, it's not. It's not. A parent who knows the level of involvement of his student in the learning and teaching process is a parent that is going to help you change the learning outcome for his son or daughter. Let me finish this.
Very well. Just
for too long, we've used levy as a proxy for parent participation. I think it's unfortunate. We need to allow parents' voice to be heard in our school. Parents should contribute their ideas to the management of schools, and headmasters should be willing to accept that. Now, you come to levy. Yes, financial contribution is important. But when free senior high school was being implemented, there's a decision that the president made that there was something that we call development levy. Parents were paying 50 cedis for development levy, that they were levied to ensure that they can do development at the school.
And is that currently happening?
It's part of the free senior high school. The government absorbed that. And every year, that money is sent to the schools.
But certainly, 50 cedis as compared to whatever levies they were paying at the time would make very little difference as far as the project the schools are undertaking is concerned.
Nobody have said that parents cannot contribute to their schools. Wesley girls, let me tell you, they bring vouchers and not vouchers, but forms, requests. I contributed last year to my I don't have a daughter as Wesley girls, but they go out and they solicit for funding for their schools. So let me tell you this.
But that will be an individual decision.
Yes.
What they want is for the schools,
but what they want,
as a body and as a matter of policy, to be given the opportunity to say, if we have a project, the PTA can go ahead and levy every parent to pay a specific amount of money towards the project.
So understand free senior high school. Ghana is not the first country to do free senior high school. What you need to do is a fundraising. Allow parents to contribute whatever amount. And some people may contribute more than what you are going to levy. But the idea, my brother, the idea, if I can explain a bit, it will help your audience. The idea that school is free. But if you haven't paid your levy, you may not go to the dining hall. Let me tell you, these real issues. Parents, students from poor backgrounds have been prevented from going to dining halls because they have not paid their levies. So that kid that comes from a poor background from Bonko Koimbo district to be told that, yes, you are an Achimota. Every student is supposed to pay 500. You could not afford it, and therefore you can't go to the dining hall. And you're talking about how can that be under the free senior high school regime? What that the Ghana Education Service is saying is simple. Parents can contribute to their schools, but it cannot be another fee to block the less fortunate from going to school.
And so Charles will not get what he wants, what he's asking for.
And the free senior high school, the president has already made commitment to school building infrastructure. He is also sending development levy grants to schools. Government is not going to impose fees on students when it's supposed to be free. However,
there were two other demands.
If you are a creative headmaster, and some headmasters have done a fantastic job, they have parents contributing, they are recognizing the parents who are contributing, and some will tell you that they are getting more money than when they were levying a flat rate to all parents, because some parents can do 2,000 easily.
Well, we are yet to see evidence of that, but Charles will not get the opportunity to levy the students directly. How about their request for an increase in the feeding grants from 30% to at least 40%?
Let me tell you, when free senior high school started, it was 20%. When they met the minister and explained, every year the minister meets with the matrons and domestic bearers. So if they have an issue and they bring it to the ministry, we have a listening minister and he'll pay attention. So it's not a big deal.
Because so you took it from 20 to 30%, yes. And you are willing to listen to them if the argument for a 40
Of course, we are
sense.
listening ministry. If they bring their issue, I'm not even sure why they chose to say it in the media, because every year they meet. They come to the Minister of Education, they look at, okay, This is so. I was there last year when the minister approved an increase in the perishable rate.
Well, they have said that they will issue a communique at the end of the conference. Hopefully that will get to you. But the very final thing they asked for is the release of the code of conduct. How soon are they going to get that?
We'll talk to Ghana Education Service. Those are their employers, and they are the ones who work on the code of conduct. And I'll talk to our good old Professor Pukra to speed up and make sure that they get their code of conduct. But I'll tell you this, high school will continue to be free. The area where students were kicked out of dining halls and examination rooms because they could not pay a levy imposed by a school is over.
Thank you very much. And that's the Deputy Education Minister, Dr. Yao Said, who will bring some answers and clarity to the concerns raised by the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools. We're doing some other stories here on Joy News Prime, and residents of Kubekro number 1 and 2 and surrounding communities in the Katamansu municipality are counting their losses after rains flooded their homes on Wednesday. Residents had to run for their lives after a few minutes of rainfall. Now they narrate the resulting effect was life-threatening as strong flood water submerged their homes, roads, churches, among other places. Some residents could not catch any sleep as they had nowhere to lay their head. Now, those who managed to speak to Tama Regional Correspondent Kwame Yanka could not hide their pain.
Someone called us from the rain that fell yesterday. There is a big water coming on the way. We should be very careful. But me, I'm not in the house. My wife is in the house and called me that this is what is happening. So I tell them that they should make sure, they should make fast, and then what? They make sure that they carry the children from the room, so that even when we lost our things and we have our children, we'll be okay. So one of my children, this is my children, my junior brother, is the one who carried all the children to this storage building. If not because of this storage building yesterday, like we will lose our things and we will lose our children's all.
And my time, me babo me bono so fa me nkwala mienu abonobo and ye twa nsu e ka nsu no kopo twen me kra nsu no twen me a enya asem keto ye gina hanem obi eni hanem a wotumi ba nsu na te no a nsu na hwe na baby aye kama na fiase na se nadumofo eni asemre ma no ma ba be ginja ha na mu interview ni pa
nsu na anto bi anka yo say dey etumi ba sa within short time ye hu an say if dia ha nyina ayema you be ntimi afa bibia because we deal this mistake e dey obekọ tini ya na say pie obi a pie we abetimi onya oba dia ofa oba anu mo pie
na me okrom ne yefrɛ me enti yefrɛ me baaye no na almost homo ha ni su na aflade ha ni nyina afa ya nyama even ya nyama de ya so ni nyina nsu afa ni nyina de ekọ ewia ha ya nye baabi anda enti etu ne ekọ kada baabi foforo
ayiri ti me baaye na ha na me bejira na me ntumi mba ti me bisa papa na se na chese one akwala na omokọ ti me so me wura manye se de nsu ni chimi no nya de a metumi awurum ti me niama nyina na we nyina na na pe yeguso a ye atwi.
Newly built downtown city police station close to a storm drain was also affected. Walls of homes tumbled down due to the strong flood waters. Visits to some homes at Atadeka Down also revealed a similar trend as the flood destroyed electrical appliances, food, books, furniture, among other personal items. Assemblyman for Bosa electoral area, Engman Ajete Mensah, says the flood, which occurred yesterday, was the second in the last decade. According to him, a gas filling station and other buildings have encroached on what could have been expanded to serve as a storm drain to contain large volumes of water. In the event of floods, he appealed to the government to act now to save lives.
From mountains, from Oyibi, Bawalishin, Anoman, Gonyitain and others. And there has been a dam over there, which that dam has overflowed. Due to that overflow, there's a dam at Katamansu here, which we have been using it for agriculture. Also has got blasts. So the two dams come together and then spread up, and then we are facing this water problem. We do have a problem on gutter issues, overflowing issue, but the government doesn't want to listen to us. Always we used to say that, but then they don't mind. I've been around and traced. I've realized a lot of buildings have got spoiled. A lot of properties have gone, people have lost. people are frustrated, you know.
You're watching Joy News Prime here on your Joy News channel. Still to come in the bulletin, MP for Fomna kicked out by the NPP following his decision to run independent, insists he's still a member of the majority side.
They are saying they have dismissed me, but I am telling you I'm winning for the party. You see, you people, you media men, I've had a lot of discussion about this particular issue. Please, let me have a bit of my peace.
We have details after the break. Don't go away. Thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Let's do some politics now. National Vice Chairman of the NDC, Alhaji Said Sinari, may still face charges in spite of the police dropping the charges against him in court. Now, the National Vice Chairman was accused of distributing weapons to some persons to cause chaos during the December 7 elections. He denies this allegation made against him by a fellow NDC executive who is the chairman of the Ayawaso North constituency. My colleague Kufuor followed up on this matter and further report.
State prosecutors have dropped 2 charges of conspiracy to commit crime, to wit possession of firearms without authority and possession of firearms without lawful authority against a national vice chairman of the NDC, Alhaji Said Sinari. The Kaneshi District Court discharged him after police prosecutor Sergeant Thomas Safo informed the court that there had been new development, for which reason the state was no longer interested in pursuing the specific charges leveled against him. The national vice chairman of the NDC, Alhaji Said Sinari, was accused of distributing weapons to some persons to cause chaos during the December elections. The Ayawaso North constituency chairperson of the NDC, Tahiru Ahmed, is reported to have confessed to the police that Alhaji Said Sinari supplied guns to some youth to cause chaos during the December election. Alhaji Said Sinari has dismissed the allegations against him, calling on the NDC party to take disciplinary action against Mr. Tahiru Ahmed. Here is Abraham Amaliba, one of the lawyers for the NDC vice chairman, speaking to the media after the court discharged his client.
The charges that were brought to court were not well founded, and so I'm sure the prosecution saw that there were some gaps in the charges, and that's why they reviewed it. So we want to thank the court for accepting the submission of the prosecution, and I can tell you that Alhaji Sinari is now a free man. There's no camp in this matter. We are not having 2 different camps. What is important is that Alhaji Sinari has gotten his freedom back. His liberties have been restored. Alhaji Sinari is now going to walk home free man, and that is what is important.
But before this, Abraham Amaliba had been explaining the circumstances around the case to Joy News.
He's been asked to write his caution statement, which has to do with possession of firearms without lawful authority. And as you know, the facts are very clear. Alhaji is not in possession of any of those arms. It was somebody who brought them to the police. And so it would be absurd to parade Alhaji before the court and charge him for possession, when indeed there were no guns before him. However, there were 2 guns that were shown to Alhaji. There was an AK-47 and then a pump action gun. Alhaji had already reported of the loss of his pump action gun. He reported that to the Cantonment's police station. That gun is licensed. The pump action gun is licensed. But Alhaji has no knowledge of the AK-47.
And as usual of such cases involving high-profile politicians, party supporters massed up at the Greater Accra Region Police Headquarters.
Come for interrogation. That's why we are here. We are here behind him.
We are here because of Alhaji Sinari. Alhaji Sinari is our vice chairman. And where things are going on as a political arena, we thought that the thing is a plantain against our chairman.
The Ayawaso North NDC chairman who made these allegations was also in court and had the same charges leveled against him. He has also since been discharged. He has now been suspended by the NDC. But the police is still interested in investigating this issue and is continuing with investigations into the matter.
Let me take you to Parliament now. An MP for Fomena Andrew Amwako Esiama insists he is not leaving the 7th Parliament despite a request by the new Patriotic Party to the Speaker for him to be kicked out. The NPP General Secretary John Boydu says the party has asked the Speaker to declare the seat vacant after the MP was sacked over his decision to run as an independent candidate. Now, Mr. Siama tells Joy News no official communication on his removal from Parliament has come to his notice, and he remains a member of the majority side. He spoke to Joseph Opoku-Gato and says nothing will make him change his mind to run independent. He's predicting to win by 70% of the votes.
Oh, everything is okay. The campaign is going well. Everything is over.
Everything is over, as yes. There's a lot of appeals to you. We told the President, Kennedy Japan, others are intervening, asking you to step down.
Well, I think it's belated. The notice of pool has come. My name is there. I'm part of them. If they have sacked me, I'm still part of them. So don't worry. I'm winning for them. I'm winning for the party. Don't worry.
In fact, they say they've dismissed you from the party by virtue of the fact
they have dismissed me, but I'm still in. I'm winning for the party.
How can you continue belonging to a group which says we've made you an outside member?
They are saying they have dismissed me, but I am telling you I'm winning for the party. You see, you people, you media men, I've had a lot of discussion about this particular issue. Please, let me have a bit of my peace. Let me say one thing. Let me say one thing. What I can assure you is that I will be part of the 8th Parliament. That is what is important.
They've asked that from the 7th Parliament, you'll be taken out by virtue of the fact that the MP...
Today you see me. Yes, you see me. I'm in Parliament. I'm just walking out from the chamber. I'm part of.
But what do you make of the demand they're asking that the Speaker gets you out of the 7th Parliament?
Please. What I'm saying, I've had a lot of discussion on this particular issue. I don't want to jump into that angle. I am still part of Parliament.
Do you think they have a legal basis?
I'm not going to discuss that thing because no letter or documentation has been given to me to that effect. So I don't need to discuss anything, probably speculatively. So once we didn't get there, we need to discuss that.
And you are staying in the 7th Parliament, so
of course,
it expires on the 6th of January.
Of course, I'm just in the chamber, so I don't need to even discuss this issue.
How are things looking like on the ground? Does it look like you are getting a lot of support? Because then the claim is that the party supported you, which is how come you won the seats on the different occasions.
So if the party supported me, fine. This time around, the entire constituents are supporting me. So I'm coming back to Parliament. Just watch my lips. I will be part of the 8th Parliament. Brilliant.
What of the fear that because of you going independent, it may create a division that may create a chance for the NDC?
No.
But what gives you that confidence?
I am saying
that. But what gives you that confidence, especially when you're an independent person and the party that you are part of also has its own candidate?
My brother, listen to me. All this discussion will not even arise. I'm saying I'm winning and winning and winning. So don't go to that discussion.
Are you angry with the party? Do you have qualms with the party by virtue of the fact that they're trying to get you?
I don't have any qualms with the party. Of course, taking that steps, I'm not oblivious of the consequential effect with respect to that steps I took. So I'm okay with it. There's no problem at all.
You don't care that they see you now as an outsider who has betrayed.
But I was sitting, friends, with them. We were all chatting. We were doing everything together.
Do you get the sense that your colleagues, particularly on the majority side, support the request, for example, from the party that you be removed from Parliament?
My brother, you've gone past that. I've discussed that matter with you and with other media houses.
What's your projection? By how percentage are you likely to
win? I'm winning and winning and winning. At least expect about 70% of the popular votes.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
And of course, this is your election headquarters. We have more election-related stories for you, but up next is business. We'll hear from former Finance Minister Seth Terkper, who says Ghana is facing financial distress as a result of government's excessive borrowing.
The country is facing austerity, a very deep austerity. And the good thing about this is that unlike 2009, when single spine, virtually was not quantified, was virtually hidden,
Gifty has details after this break.
And welcome to Business here on Joy News Prime with me, Gifty Ando Apia. Now, former Finance Minister Seth Terkper says the Ghanaian economy is facing austerity. According to him, the country is going through financial distress as a result of government excessive borrowing. He was reacting to government's plans to issue a $5 billion sovereign bond to finance maturing debt. Mr. Terkper spoke earlier on the marketplace.
The country is facing austerity. A very deep austerity. And the good thing about this is that unlike 2009, when single spine, virtually was not quantified, was virtually hidden, and therefore you come into office and then you are faced with all these gigantic things. There is some appreciation, some idea of what is ahead of the country from this. There is one item which is missing. Which is? The majority of free SHS students who got free SHS first are moving into tertiary. There's no mention of the cost of free SHS. I stand for correction. Is that part of the financing that has been left out? Right? And there has been no expansion. So these are the things which faces. Now, when you want to see what the NDC is capable of doing, then we could have had more graphs, but you would appreciate that we were the government that did massive investments and at the same time reduced the rate of borrowing through the smart borrowing, which I hear has just been dismissed by the vice president without coming out with any best alternative. That should give you a clue of the capability of the NDC. But this by no means says that we are going to take an economy which is yes, and we are certainly going to, and we can assure Ghanaians that we are capable, of the task. Because if you come to look at our record, right, we left the money that was used for the stabilization fund. We left the money that was put into the sinking fund, which was used to redeem the balance of the Kufuor bond. I heard you saying that, is borrowing to refinance. It's no solution. Because remember, we borrow to refinance instead of paying down the debt.
Former Finance Minister Seth Terkper there. Yet another big jackpot up for grabs at the 44th unique draw of the Star 787 hash lottery. That's according to managers of the game. Head of customer experience at Star 787 hash lottery, Richard Akotobanfo, made this known when his outfit presented a cash check of 20,000 cedis to the latest unique draw winner, Elizabeth Abbey, here in Accra. There's more in this report.
Of customer experience at Star 787 hash lottery, Richard Akotobanfo says the game will on Saturday record the second biggest jackpot with an amount of 551,500 cedis to a lucky winner. At a presentation of 20,000 cedis cash prize to the 43rd winner, Elizabeth Abbey, at their head office in Accra, Richard urged Ghanaians to be part of this opportunity to change their lives.
With our prompt payment, Star 787 hash promises a big jackpot value of 551,500 Ghana cedis. You can be next. Just pick your phone now, dial Star 787 hash to participate. A big jackpot of 551,500 Ghana cedis awaits you. Be the next big jackpot winner. Star 787 hash, you can win big too.
Elizabeth Abbey, after winning 3 cash prizes after her 6th attempt, had this to say.
I thought it was a joke because these fraud guys around, they will call you this, that, send me this and that. So I was like, I'm not expecting any call from anybody. I'm not expecting him to call me at this time either. And he asked me if I have searched through my message. I said, no, I haven't. And I'm charging my phone. Then he said I should search through my phone and that I have won 20,000. I said 20,000, like, is it 20,000 like all the current? Sometimes they get confused. And he said 20,000. I said he's joking. He said no, he's not joking.
Star 787 hash. Well, congratulations to her. That's it for business this hour. I'm back after 8 with more. I am Gifty Ando Apia. But coming up on the news, the campaign trail. The battle is in the national capital of Accra as the flag bearer of the opposition, NDC John Dramani Mahama, and President Kufuor are all both jostling for votes here in the Greater Accra region.
Me kasa me pese me ye bibia nyase me basa me baba dada obia wo Ghana ha na dokura na me kasa me baba ya de na dada o ye campaign o se oba benwa obesi 315 new secondary school from scratch, and then the Minister of Education Soria or say they never made any such promise.
Many thanks for staying with us on Joy News Prime. I'm Gary Al Smith with the sport. President of the Ghana Football Association, Kurt Okraku, paid a working visit to the multimedia group earlier today. The visit was to cost the support of the company to help grow the products of the football governing body.
One of the primary goals of the Kurt Okraku administration is to strengthen its relationship with media companies in the country. The GFA president has in the last few weeks paid a number of media organizations working visits. It was the turn of the Multimedia Group Limited on Thursday. The GFA president was accompanied by Executive Council members Nana Safo Ojo, Sami Enimado and Dr. Tony Obin and other members of the association. Kurt Okraku applauded Ghana's biggest private commercial media house for their unflinching support for Ghana football.
I've always made reference to the fact that multimedia is a no-joke platform. For which reason, when we say, or when multimedia says that tomorrow will be Monday, we should believe it will be Monday. That's the standards. Okay, so we are happy to be here. Honestly, our main mission is to say thank you for all the years of amazing support to association football. You have preached the gospel of football from day one, for which reason Ghana went to the Mundial in 2006, 2010 and 2014, for which reason we still consume association football in this country, and we can only be grateful for all the support. And in saying this, it's also important for us to also continue to seek your support. We know that it will take a while for people to really understand the way we navigate our ship. But we also know that when we are firm and we have our eyes fixed on the goal, with the support of the media, we will get to the promised land. So we thank you so much for all the support.
Chief Operating Officer of the Multimedia Group Limited, Kenansa, assured the GFA of the company's continuous support for the beautiful game.
We all know the role and where football sits in our hearts. I don't know what else sits beyond football, not even politics. No, politics doesn't come. When you touch football, you know, it's high up there beyond all of us. And it is what brings us all together. And we all know what happens when there is a game, everything else is on hold. And that is how positive and energetic that space is. And that is why we also say we want to go every mile to support football in Ghana. So our sports team, our sports product, the people we bring into that space are people that we always want to hold sports and football especially to a very high esteem.
And that's it for sport. I'll tell you more on the other side of it. I'm Gary Al Smith. Thank you for your time.
And it's now time for the latest in showbiz, and Becky joins me. Hello, Bex.
Hello to you.
Good to have you here.
Great. The man of God.
You started with your diabolical issues.
Oh, no. This has nothing to do with diabolical.
Okay, but Desmond Elliott has been trending.
Yeah,
why is that?
He's been trending the whole of today because of a comment he made about NSAP's protest on social media.
What did he say?
And it got the likes of the video Angry Davido says that Desmond Elliot just destroyed all the precious child memories he gave us in movies.
This one by Geomani, it says, when Patience Ozoko poisoned Desmond Elliot for no reason in one movie I watched, I was angry. Not anymore though. Now I understand what happened. She knew him before us. This is wicked.
Yes, and Uche Jumbo also says that the same social media they used to package themselves into power, APC, was packaged here on Twitter with quote change. So those were some of the comments. But and as the reason why these comments are coming on Twitter is because Desmond says something. Let's just
so this is what got a lot of people infuriated and got him trending as well.
We wish him all the best though. I was trying to reach him.
Let's see how it goes, but you have some other interesting story for us.
GH Unite will be performing. Those are the artists who will be performing. So
on the
for those of you who've missed performances from all these beautiful musicians, I called them. I'll be there. And as you have to be there.
Thank you very much. I will be there, Becky. Thank you. I'll go with you. And that's it for those of you watching us on Joy Prime. That's it for the news. The news continues on Joy News after this. Stay with us. Now, more than 80 Ivorians have crossed the Ghanaian border into the main refugee camp in the western regional town of Ampian this month alone, running for their lives. Ivory Coast goes to the polls this weekend in the crucial elections where incumbent Alhassan Ouattara has forced through a constitutional change to enable him to run for a third term amidst widespread protests. This comes exactly 10 years after the disputed elections of 2010, which left over 3,000 dead. Johnny's Justice Beidou has been to the Ampian refugee camp to gauge the mood of the people ahead of the elections.
Inside this church building made of raffia, hands are raised in prayer. Hallelujah. It's 2 days before presidential elections in Ivory Coast. 10 years ago, when a similar poll happened, more than 3,000 people were killed. Those here were part of the thousands who fled for their lives. They have been living in Ghana since then.
I just pray. 2 days now I didn't sleep because I fear for my family.
This is the Ampian refugee camp. More than 1,000 people live here. It's one of 3 that were built to receive Ivorian refugees during the country's war of 2010.
And for my country, if the election was not passed well, it means that I will do maybe 10 years again.
Natasha Ba-Ibo is showing me photos people have sent her from home. She claims these are pictures of those who were butchered on the streets of Abidjan for protesting President Alhassan Ouattara's decision to run for a third term.
2 days now I didn't sleep because I fear for my family. They are free. They are free. And most of my friends, my sisters call me, they want to come. But they close the border. So they don't know where they can pass to come. Many of people, when they reach the border, they can't pass because they don't have money or they just tell them to go back. They want to save their life and they tell them to go back. It's not easy.
Many of the children playing on this field today were born on this camp, hundreds of kilometers away from their motherland where their parents fled from bloodshed 10 years ago. A lot of them do not even speak any French at all. The refugees who live on this camp are praying against the situation that will birth another generation like this one. Children cut away from their roots. And whether that happens or not depends on the result of this election.
Even for the people of Ghana, it's not good. It is not good. You know when it starts, but you don't know when it ends. So to me, if situation will get worse, Ghana will always open the doors. What we are thinking on now, we want to know if the borders will be open. If the border is not open, then it will be difficult.
4 people are contesting for the presidency in Saturday's election. More than 15 people have already been killed in violent protests since August. With the stakes that high, many are concerned what the future of this country would be. Justice Paidu, Joy News, Ampain Refugee Camp.
Let's hit the campaign trail now. The battle is in the national capital of Accra. Flag bearer of the opposition NDC, John Dramani Mahama, and President Kufuor have both pitched camps in the Greater Accra region. Today, the former president, John Mahama, started off in Tema, where he accused the governing NPP of trading off loans given to small businesses as part of COVID-19 business support scheme for votes. That notwithstanding, Mr. Mahama says the next NDC government will not retrieve the funds as been speculated by members of the governing party.
Party executives Yenji Busiani biom ebeya odia enso sejo Mahama ba obeje sikana sefi mu ho sa politics no emmoa ebi say sikana omo chenumpo eye me ena me twire to ho stabilization fund ena yede etulu stabilization fund no. Now stabilization fund no ye me say atoranchim bi et Ghana. Ye bet me akoyi mu na ye de aso ano. Enti sa coronavirus ibae. Ene se o sika na me de to ho no. Mo koyi bi na mo famboa abanfo. Enti mo akoyi na mo cha. Ma mo man nye te say nanado sika e no che. I can't share cover say yes kanamawa now to man anadwa say MPP wenia yen jisikani bium and so Mahama wenia or no oba obejisikano.
The president has also been fighting off claims by President Kufuor and Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia that he lacks credibility. Now, Mr. Mahama says it is the governing party that has no credibility considering what they promised the Ghanaian people ahead of the 2016 elections.
Almost say credibility. Now, one name credibility, and Nana Kufuor don't need Bawumia name credibility. What say we are Juma Bank of Ghana only says it can home. Now we can develop this economy without borrowing, and yes, I'm kind. And then yes, sir, for Hippic. If we say, Oma Koji Busia Sa Mafe, say a chess Abusia Maganda for you now. Obia they can 9,000 Ghana cedis. Say a chess Akana, Nana Kuba the Makojeno. Say a Chema Ghana for you now. Obia they can 90 million Ghana cedis. 90 million old cedis. Nasa Nipa almost sorry, almost a credibility. Nana the Oya campaign. Also about Benua. Obesi 315 new secondary school from scratch.
My colleague Manor Clinton has been with the former president and joins us with more. Manor, where else has the president been apart from Tema, and what has he been saying?
Russell, as the entire campaign for the third day has been within the Tema enclave. He's been to all 3 constituencies within the Tema metropolis, Tema West, Tema Central, and Tema East. Essentially, he's been promising, especially in Tema East, the future polls, that if he wins the 2020 polls, he's going to enforce the nautical mouse regulation that prevents huge toilets from fishing within, the catchment area reserved for the artisanal fishers. He's been also talking about some of the enforcing in respect of the Tema oil refinery. He's mentioned that he's going to revive the oil refinery and then expand its capacity. Just like that,
so he's talking about artisanal fishermen, also about the Tema oil refinery. Manu, I think you need to position yourself so we could hear you better. But he was also in Tema talking about the general hospital there, announcing plans to give the hospital some facelift. Give us details.
Yes, exactly. He's been mentioning that the Tema General Hospital will be upgraded into a world-class hospital, one which is akin to what you have at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, what you properly refer to as the Red Hospital. He says that within the Tema Enclave, which you know that is the industrial hub of the country, there are not so many health facilities here. And so with the second coming of the former president.
And just quickly as we wrap up on this, Manuel, tell us about the reception that the former president has been receiving in Tema.
Yes, we are currently at Ajay Kujo in the Tema West constituency. He's addressing a rally here, and he's been mentioning that he's going to, as it were, construct an overpass for the folks here to connect to their family.
All right, thank you very much, Manuel, for bringing us up to speed on the former president's campaign. He has been with the former president as he started his tour of the Greater Accra region. President Kufuor is also here. He's wrapping up his tour of the Greater Accra region today. He interacted with members of the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs at Dodowa, and he announced that he set up a committee to look into the possible restoration of Ghana lands compulsorily taken over by the state, and that committee will start work next year. Among others, the committee will determine the consequences of the restoration and make recommendations to government. The return of lands to its original owners has been a long battle between the Ghana state and successive governments. Addressing the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs today as part of his tour, President Kufuor tasked the chieftaincy minister to begin the processes to bring finality to this issue.
The chieftaincy ministry has also instituted a program to have courses in chieftaincy development, comprising lectures, seminars, and other activities aimed at building the capacity of chiefs and all persons with interest in the chieftaincy institution. I applaud this initiative. Let me also indicate to you my commitment to establishing a committee, God willing, early next year, to take a comprehensive look at the issue to do with the compulsory acquisition of lands by government, its consequences, and the possible restoration of lands to their allodial owners. The committee will make appropriate recommendations for the decision of government. With a few weeks to the holding of the elections, the setting up of this committee this year may not be feasible. However, as a sign of my commitment to this, I'm tasking the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs to begin stakeholder consultations with the House so an agreement can be reached on the composition of this committee and its terms of reference. Nima government will continue to support the chieftaincy institution so it can be strong and resilient.
Now, President Kufuor says government will work with the security agencies to ensure a violence-free election, and he also promised that what ensued between supporters of the NPP and NDC at Odododiodo over the weekend will not repeat itself. He pledged his commitment to ensure a free, fair and transparent election.
Of the wholehearted efforts that are being made by my government and I to ensure the peace and stability of the nation as we enter the last 5 weeks of the electioneering campaign. Ghana has rightly earned a reputation as a pace setter in democratic governance on the African continent, a reputation I am determined to uphold and indeed enhance prior to, during, and after the 7th December elections. I would need, of course, your full collaboration and cooperation to help attain this end. We cannot afford a repetition of the deplorable events that took place recently at Odudududu. We have all to work together to create the environment that will allow the Ghanaian people to make their decision on 7th December in freedom, peace, and security. It is their right.
Now, let's go to Zoom now. We're joined by presidential correspondent Elton Brobe. He has been with the president on his tour throughout the week. Elton, the president also commissioned a health facility at Dodowa today. Tell us about that.
This is an infectious disease center that was set up when COVID was at its peak here in Ghana. And it was part of, the health ministry's plans to ensure that even beyond COVID, we will have a health service that will be capable of responding to current and future needs. So that was set up, and today the commissioning ceremony was done, which means that people within the Shire of Sudoku enclave now have access to first-class health facility within the community. And this, the people were so excited about, because according to them, until the health facility was established, they were always seeking health attention from either Tema or the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, Kolebu, or the likes. But now with the establishment of this infectious disease center, they can now walk in, report any case that they may have, and they are sure to be attended to. Indeed, the superintendent, the health superintendent for the Shire of Sudoku area says that the infectious center has come to deal with the many issues relating to health within the enclave, and for that reason, it will help address the health needs of the people. So that was the second port of call after addressing the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs. And as I must say that with just some few weeks to the December 7th general election, it's becoming extremely difficult to detach government official business and campaigning for re-election. And indeed, absolutely, the two virtually went together during the tour of the president, right from the first day up till today. So after doing the government business, the President Kufuor will go on to remind them of the promises he made to them in 2016, what he's done so far, and the reason why he should be given a second chance to continue. According to him, he's been very truthful, he's been very transparent, and he's actually counting on his truthfulness to win him the December 7th election, which comes up in some 5 weeks away.
And you hear him tell the people, vote for me based on the work I have done. He sounds that confident. But Elton, today, I understand that some of the chiefs, and indeed spokesperson of the chiefs he met today, sort of spoke in favor of the president, asking the people to vote for him, commending him for the work he's done. Can you bring us some more detail on that?
Yes, it was quite pronounced, especially at Dodowa when the president commissioned the infectious disease center. And the spokesperson for Dodowa, who spoke on behalf of the Traditional Council, said that what the government has done, and what President Kufuor has done within the last 4 years, should be enough yardstick to allow him to go for another term, because he's delivered on the promises he's made to Ghanaians, almost fulfilling all of them. The reason why he should be given the opportunity to go, even though, as you may be aware, the Constitution is quite clear on what chiefs are supposed to do when it comes to endorsing political heads. But nevertheless, they went all out, they gave their endorsement, and that characterized actually the visit to Dodowa. And after which we went to Adenta, Medina. Adenta is experiencing some asphalt overlay within the municipality. Also to Medina East Legon, road construction is ongoing. The road minister was quite clear that government has another what they call constituency connect project. Okay. The aim is to reduce traffic within the city. So they are doing asphalt overlays, connecting constituencies together. They are creating access road from the main road so that vehicles can have so many options.
And all of that is happening in the inner cities as well. Elton, thank you very much for the update on the president's tour. We'll see where he hits next. And of course, you'll be there to bring us all those details. Now, disqualified independent presidential aspirant Kufuor Clinton says he will take legal action against the Electoral Commission following his disqualification. Mr. Clinton's hopes of contesting the 2020 presidential elections were dashed when the EC accused him of forging signatures on his nomination forms. He denied those claims at a news conference in Accra and appealed to the Electoral Commission to give him another opportunity as his competitors to correct errors on the nomination forms.
Legal option, yes, it's being considered. We wanted the EC to know how obviously wrong they've been in the process for them to step back and say, you know what, we're going to pull back. And that's why we've been apprehensive in pulling a legal card, because this is so obviously wrong. And as I go through my answering, you will know why I say that. So we thought the EC was going to come to the realization that, you know what, this should not have happened. And that's why we've been maybe not apprehensive, but we have taken our time to seek that option, which is legal. By disqualifying the candidacy of Kufuor Clinton from the ballot, the Electoral Commission has removed the hope, dreams, and future of all Ghanaians. As the representative of the People's Campaign for President of Ghana, I am asking that the EC give our campaign the opportunity to correct the small number of errors that have led to our disqualification from the ballot, which we contend were purposeful sabotage by those controlled by the ruling parties. We look forward to a democratic outcome that will allow us to appear on the ballot. We call for every Ghanaian to speak up and demand that they can vote for a free, independent candidate who offers a vision for our country, Ghana.
Clinton also is calling for digitization of nominations by the EC to prevent candidates from committing errors on their nomination forms.
He does not have a system to take out or for you to know if an entry is incorrect. If everything comes out, it will give you the polling station number, the polling address, and the person's name and details. That's all that comes out. And as far as that is concerned, everything was correct on our forms. So how do you get us to say, hey, we found entries on there, all 19 CPP executives, and the same people happen to be on the CPP forms? That's mind-blowing, and they will not give us a chance to fix it. Who does that? And you want to be a democratic EC? You were supposed to be helping your people to put your people into the arena so that they can serve. But you have set yourself up to stab people. That is what the EC is doing. They said, listen, you see this? 145 pages. We are a country that brags about we are going digital. This is digital to you? This looks digital? Leveraging technology. Right? This is 104. This is what we have to fill out. This is what we have to fill out, Ghana. Look at this. Where everybody else is talking about going soft and going electronic and going digital. Get Dr. Bahumia to see this. He forgot about the EC, right? What is this? And then they set you up for you to miss a cross on a T or miss a dot on an I. Oh, we disqualified you. What kind of EC does that? You're supposed to be helping the people to serve the people, not stabbing the people in their backs. We didn't come here to pay 100,000 cedis to go and forge signatures. Does it make sense to you? Come on, give me a break here.
Kumasi now. The Menchia Palace on Thursday denied members of the Liberal Party of Ghana entry for failure to conform to necessary traditional protocols. The palace has cancelled all arrangements for paying homage to the Asantehene, but LPG presidential candidate Percival Kofi Akpalu, who had prior notice of the reviewed arrangements, says massing up at the gate of the palace was to convince the palace to consider the decision. Now Juma worked with the party and filed the following report.
The gate of Mensah Palace is always opened to all, irrespective of political colors. But on Wednesday, the Liberal Party of Ghana was locked out by security details at the seat of the Asante King. Leader of the group, Percival Kofi Apalu, however, says he was not surprised at the turn of events.
We were supposed to come last Friday, so they called us late to inform us that no, we should move it to Wednesday. So we got there. No, we got here last night, and then the personal secretary to Kufuor called me and said it's not going to be possible today because of some traditional performances that they have to do. So, but the people have been organized already. We've all come all over from Accra and to here. So it would have been, not appropriate not to go there. So we started to go there to see if maybe they might look at it and say, okay, come.
Hundreds of LPG supporters marched through the principal streets of Kumasi. They held placards with campaign messages and shared policy documents with the electorate. Mr. Akpalu, who is on a nationwide tour, expressed satisfaction with the acceptance of the party's campaign message.
Everywhere we've gone, they've received us very, very well, and we are 100% sure and certain that at the end of the day we'll win the elections.
Party members who joined the march are optimistic of their chances in the December 7 elections.
Way back, completed SHS. We stay home, no work to do. So we just want to find work to do. So we just want to vote to Kofi Ampadu. That's why we are here.
We have the courage, we have the possibility, we have the boldness to have the seat for Ghanaians as LPG people.
Me tema central na matana na me NDC youth organizer ho, but me tie Kofi Apalu me hwe no call message na me say man or talent ma Ghana for
parties na aba no a da bia MPP NDC say you hear say the papa ne nkasa ye city say the minuan kan ye no you hear papa ne nkasa ye ne pa o ma Ghana na afan ya was 2020 yetimi sisam.
From Kumasi for Joy News, Nanaya Ojima reporting.
Back to Accra now. Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensah, has charged first-time voters to exercise their civic duty by stepping out in their numbers on election day to vote for the political parties of their choice. The chairperson, however, reminded the beginners to carefully analyze the policies of the parties before they cast their vote, because those policies could make or unmake them. Madam Jean Mensah said this when she met with leadership and members of the Youth Bridge Foundation, an NGO embarking on first-time campaign at the IPAC Conference Hall at the headquarters of the Electoral Commission.
You know, I've always said that we always say that the youth are the future of our country, but they must be prepared. And I think that organizations such as the Youth Bridge is doing excellently in this endeavor. We cannot expect that you have a place around the table if you are not prepared. And if we are to have the meaningful participation of young people around the table, we must take time to prepare them. And so I don't buy, or I do not believe so much in the, the phrase or the cliche of prepare the youth are the future of our nation. I think that we must prepare the youth to lead. And that's why we applaud this initiative by the Youth Bridge in sensitizing you, in providing you knowledge as to why your vote is important, as to why you must exercise your civic duty, and so on and so forth. So I think this is laudable and it's worth commending. I believe that each and every one of you should have a place around the table. But as I have said, you must have knowledge so that your participation around the table would be meaningful. So that it's not just counting numbers and saying that, oh, let's gather a few youth around the table, and you come around the table but you cannot engage. And therefore the knowledge that you're acquiring through your interaction with the Youth Bridge Initiative and the Youth Bridge Foundation is very, very vital. I would not take too much of your time, but I just urge you in this election to go out in your numbers to cast your votes in a meaningful way. I think it's important that you look at the policies and programs that political parties have before you cast your votes. And that at the end of the day, your vote would be meaningful and will lead to the development of our country. I also like to urge you, I think as all of us around the table from the side of the Commission have pledged ourselves as agents of peace.
Meanwhile, the Executive Director of Youth Bridge Foundation, Seth Oting, called on political parties to take the first-time voters seriously by listening to their needs during decision-making. He also commended the Electoral Commission for opening up to young people who are going to have their first shots at choosing who leads the country.
It's a national cause and a national agenda, and they have a role to play. Let me say that the youth for the last 2016 election, the first-time voter population was, and the data I have for the Electoral Commission, then Mr. Tiki, was about 21%. The youth age 18 to 20 was about 21% of the voter population. What that meant is that it's a huge number. That's those voting in a presidential and parliamentary election. We expect that when the register is final, the number is likely to go up. So for the Electoral Commission to recognize the important role of the youth and the first-time voter in Ghana's election 2020 is very, very much welcome. And political parties out there may want to take the first-time voters serious because they are the kingmakers. And they understand. We've had, with the support of the Canada Fund for Local Initiative, we're running this campaign, the first-time voter education campaign. We've had seminar in the northern part of Ghana, in the middle belts, and then we're heading towards the coastal community next week. What we do is that we introduce them to the basic tenets of each political party so that they know the tenets of the political parties and the youth sensitivity analysis of each political party's manifesto. How does it speak to them? And they are supposed to make their own informed decisions. Political parties out there better take youth first-time voters serious.
The foundation also called on the EC to be fair and transparent in the upcoming elections. You're watching Joy News Prime with me, Anas Mini. We're taking a break. When we return, Gifty will bring you more business stories. Stay with us.
And I'm back with more business. I am Gifty Andor here. Now, Toronto Gold Mine has introduced a scholarship scheme to help bridge the skill gap in its catchment and economically empower communities. There have been concerns about inadequate educational skill set for people in mining communities to gain employment in mining firms. This often leads to friction between the mining companies and their host communities. And Prince Appiah has been following on this and has this report.
Lack of requisite skills and education often deny many residents in mining communities employment opportunities in mining companies. Government's free senior high school policy is helping to address the educational gap in poor mining communities, but SHS graduates are limited to menial jobs, which community leaders complain about.
Since the mining was introduced, not a lot of people have gained access to the mining, the mining sector, because formerly they were employing people from outside. Now that they have come back and employing people within the catchment area. So most of the people here are very, very poor. They are very, very poor. They don't have money. So I think with the introduction of this scholarship scheme, it will help a lot.
Management of Toronto Gold Mines is therefore supporting needy community members with scholarships for tertiary education and continuous training. Terence Watungwa is Vice President and General Manager.
Let's invest directly into the people from the community, the needy students who are hungry for education. Let's support them through the tertiary education phase. And after this meeting, after the launching, we'll begin the work to effectively, immediately recruiting. And it's going to work in such a way that we'll have 2 per paramountcy. So 2 students per paramountcy that will be beneficiaries of this new GM scholarship that we are launching today.
Communications Officer of Chuan Gold Mines, Kwabna Owusu-Amprechum, explains the scholarship is targeted at science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education.
Education is very key. We are focusing on STEM, that is science, technical education, and mathematics. Research is very good, mathematics is very good, and with this, we believe that the impact on the society, if these people are able to take advantage of this and become good people, productive people in society, it will benefit the society over here and our communities, our local communities.
Prince Apia reporting.
Now we take you to Gomwa Boaze in the Gomwa West District of the Central Region, where Casa de Ropa, a potato processing factory under the One District, One Factory, has turned women in the community into potato farmers who are paid monthly incomes. Their story has not only improved the economies of the communities, but has helped to protect the environment. Our Central Regional correspondent, Richard Kojo Nyakon, has the story.
Mary Sia, until 2015, used to cut firewood and burn them into charcoal before she could get something on the table for her family. That business, she indicates, could hardly sustain the family, as those who bought the charcoal were not even paying, making the women in the Biwazi community more vulnerable. Now 4 of my children have all completed the senior high school. They will all come back to help. Our salaries are paid promptly. This job has really helped us. Mary Sia now earns a salary. Burning firewood into charcoal for commercial purposes is now a thing of the past. Her colleague, Auntie Grace, has a similar story to share. We used to sell charcoal in commercial quantities. We used to come for by day, but when we were employed fully, we were able to cater for the needs of our family. It has really helped, and we use the money for other good things. A story not too different from hundreds of stories of the women here in the Gomwa Biwazi community. At first, it was very difficult for us, especially the women here. Many of our kids couldn't complete schooling. But now things have changed ever since this factory came into being. We have been able to provide the needs of our children. Even though there is free SHS, we also support our children, providing stipends and renting hostels for them. The building of the Orange Flex Sweet Potato Factory here at Gomwa Biwazi in the Gomwa West District of the Central Region has become a game changer for the entire community. The factory that uses Orange Flex Sweet Potato to make bread without sugar, pizza, biscuits, and other pastries has really brought smiles on the faces of the women here. Chief Executive Officer of Casa de Ropa, Ebenezer Obinibafo, says the pro-poor agri company has a duty to support the women to lift them out of poverty.
Casa de Ropa has been in this community for the 5th year now, but at least we've seen these women now educating their children to the highest level, which is the senior high secondary school. The free HHS has also come to help. But of course, even with the free HHS, they still need a little pocket money here. Today, the story have changed from I can't take my child to school to I have 3, I have 4, There are even some that are boasting of 4 secondary school children, all because of the sustained income that we have paid them. Every month they are sure that their pay will come. Every day they are sure that their food and food voucher will come. So this intervention has hugely impacted on the community, and the women are very happy. They are very happy that such initiatives have come to the community.
It isn't only about empowering women in the rural communities using agric as a tool, but also getting them to stop cutting the trees to protect the environment.
In 2015, when Casa de Ropa came to the community, we realized one thing, that the main work of these ladies and women and children, but all together, were cutting down trees and then generating charcoal. They were not earning that much, but that was the only source of employment and only source of income. Initially, it was difficult to convince them to stop because they have environmental effects. But when we employed the first 10 people, we started giving them food voucher, even excess food were given to them to take back home. Then they realized that at the end of the month, they will also get income. Then we got the buy-in.
So far, Casa de Ropa has employed 150 of the community folks. About 80% of them are women. It is their hope to change the face of agric and to support rural communities, especially women, through agric. Richard Kwejunya Akon, Joy News, Cape Coast.
That's it for business this hour here on Joy News Prime. I'm Gifty Andopia. Gary L. Smith is standing by with some sports, and Ennis Menu will continue with the news. Have a good night.
And somebody you should expect to see on the GPL Prime is the Chief Executive Officer of Heart of Oak, Frederick Moore. Now, here's a teaser of what he's going to tell you. He has revealed lessons learned from the cancelled football season will play a role in their performance. Speaking to Joy Sports, Moore said they augmented the playing body and technical team based on the previous experience.
Hearts of Oak's quest to lift the Ghana Premier League title started on the wrong footing. Phobians opened their campaign with a 1-0 defeat to Brecum Chelsea. After 14 matches in the Ghana Premier League, the Phobians were languishing 9th on the league log. Management have beefed up the playing body, including that of the technical team, with the acquisition of a technical director. Chief Executive Officer of the club, Frederick Moore, tells Joy Sports the decision to augment these two essential departments of the team is based on the lessons learned from the previous season.
There was a lot of learning. One of the most important things that you do in life is you learn and you progress. Continuous progress is what brings sustained success. If you parachute success, it doesn't last. You come down. So we've learned a lot of things. We learned a lot about our players. We learned a lot about the technical team, the refereeing, the matches. We also learned a lot about the structure that we've got that supports the football. And there's a lot of work that we are doing behind the scenes to make us stronger.
Mr. Moore added that the structure of the club at the moment is to ensure that there's sustained success, reason why they've gone for more signings, including that of a technical director.
This, after it's been said a few times, it stopped being news. Look, we've beefed up the team. We are looking at how we can structure the technical team to be successful. And that's the most important thing. The players themselves are eager to go. I've been to the training ground a number of times, and I've seen the hunger in their eyes, the hunger in terms of what they do, how they respond to training. I have no doubt that the other clubs have also beefed up their teams, and they're very strong competition. And that's what Ghana football needs. We want to be successful. We are the premier club, and we want to be the premier of everything.
Hearts of Oak have not won a Premier League title since the 2008-2009 Premier League season. The Phobians will open their campaign this season against former league champions Aduana Stars, who won the league title in 2017.
The Magdan tennis training matches and other tennis competitions being organized by the Ghana Tennis Federation and their affiliates is to facilitate the growth of tennis in the country. At the ongoing Magdan tennis training matches, Joy Sports spoke with some of the young tennis stars to get an idea about why they chose tennis as a sport.
The Magdan tennis training matches continue today at the Accra Sports Stadium courts, with players in the under 12, under 14 and under 16 categories battling it out to secure selection into the country's youth tennis teams. In a country engulfed with mass love for football, the young tennis players share the driving factor influencing their love for the game.
I think it's my talent and passion, because when I started the game I felt it, and I've seen it better for me, so I should rather continue and focus on it. It will help me some other days.
The kind of sports that when you play, it's so interesting, and when you play it, you feel good, and it's too cool to play tennis.
I'll feel like I'm doing something better, like active every day.
As they compete to earn their places in Ghana's youth teams and possibly become senior national team players, they engaged Joy Sports and highlighted their long-term dreams for tennis.
I want to be a professional player. I really want to go far.
I want to achieve something to help others, because when I see some people sleeping around the streets, I feel sad, so I want to achieve something to help them.
I want to train hard and play more than Serena Williams.
I want to be like Serena Williams.
Meanwhile, in the boys under 14, Joseph Do Ajani, Richmond Nyakun and Joseph Ayaba have all booked their places in the semi-finals. Do Ajani beats Nathaniel Alote 6-4, with Richmond Nyakun and Joshua Ayaba securing wins over Isaac Akwakun and Michael Tego respectively. Shika Macaulay beats Gifty Echampon 6-0-6-0, while Sekina Adams defeated Winifred Nottinson 6-4-6-3 in the girls under 16 category.
That's the sport for now. Don't forget, we have more on our social media handles: Joy Sports GH on Twitter, Joy Sports on Facebook, and Joy Sports GH on Instagram. Reminder that tomorrow we have the show at 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. That's the GPL Prime Hearts edition. Thank you for your time.
Many thanks for your company. Log on to myjoyonline.com. You find more stories there. Up next is the business edition of PM Express with George Yafe. Stay tuned in.